Welcome back to the kitchen table. Today on the kitchen table, not one, but two Yuneec products. And me with a cold, so I do apologise for that. But on the kitchen table today then, we have the new and soon to be reviewed on this channel, Yuneec Breeze, the 4K selfie camera, hashtag my flying camera. But in the background you can see an ST16. This obviously is the controller that goes with the released earlier this year UAV Typhoon H from Yuneec. And why are we reviewing a 6-month-old controller, you might be asking yourself? Well, there's a very, very simple reason. There has been a firmware update that turns what is essentially one of my favourite UAVs released this year into an amazing piece of photography kit. We are looking at the Typhoon H being updated to 1.2 firmware and the ST16 to b.25. You might ask yourself, what does that mean? Well, let's go through it and I will tell you. First of all is put everything on charge. Really and truthfully, you need to have the batteries at 100% before you do anything. There is firmware updates. They do take several minutes and it will be horrible if it stopped halfway through, because it might just brick all your kit and you don't want that. So first of all, plug everything in and make sure everything is going. What you want to do first is update the ST16 first. The firmware we're going through is b.25. And why this is significant is because this allows an update over the air when the ST16 is connected to Wi-Fi. Now, a few people have already been worried that it might be reporting stuff back to Yuneec's head office servers or wherever, something technical like that. But you can only report back when it's on Wi-Fi. You have the option never to actually go on Wi-Fi, so you just have to do manual updates, which it's not the end of the world, but you have that option, and that's the option I used, which is why we have a brand new splash screen on the ST16. And it's really simple, but you have to do manual update on the ST16 for this one last time. So what you're going to do is head over to yuneec.uk and download the firmware. You are after b.25 and pop it onto an SD card and then pop it underneath the controller with the SD card slot. And what you need to do is head over to your system settings, and then you're going to go to About Controller, and it displays all of your current settings on there. So you just head over to Update, and quite simply it will find the firmware on the SD card, and it takes about 3 to 4 minutes to update, and it will then reboot to a brand new splash screen, which is what you've seen earlier there. Very pretty it is too. However, what you must do is clear the data from the ST16. So simply head over to Pad, and then you want to go to your Apps, Settings, and then Apps just there. Flick across twice because it was looking for apps on the card, and obviously I don't have anything on the card. And then you're looking for F for flight mode. And when you get to flight mode, you need to click into there, small red icon, and then you must clear data. This clears everything off of your ST16. Once you've done that, you're ready to go. When that's complete, what you need to do is head over to System Settings and reselect your camera. Then you're going to rebind with your H, and so you choose Seago 3 Pro with no props attached to your Typhoon H. Then you go to System Settings, Model Select, which is just there, and then you click over to your camera, which in my case is the Seago 3 Pro. It's going to ask you for a password. The unique password is 123456789, and that's it. Take your SD card out the bottom of the ST16 controller and make sure you've got storage in the Typhoon H, because it needs to download it over the air to the Typhoon H. Hit System Settings, About Controller, and then you'll see Update Typhoon H. It will see that you haven't got any firmware on the SD card. This isn't a problem, because what it then asks you to do is connect to Wi-Fi. Once you've given it your Wi-Fi and your Wi-Fi password if necessary, it then tells you what firmware is available, what is the benefit of having that firmware, and if you're happy, hit download and the process is now fully automated. I've personally found it takes between 6 and 7 minutes for this to happen. Once you're updated, you need to calibrate your Typhoon H because you've given it new firmware. So first of all, you need to head outside and do the compass and then the accelerometer. Make sure you do your compass first, and you've got to be outside away from any metal objects or any brickwork such as a wall, and I always turn my mobile phone off so there is no chance of any electrical interference. So the question is, what do you get when you update your ST16 and Typhoon H? So what do you get in photo mode? Well, it allows you to take JPEG and DNG at the same time, so you no longer have to choose just JPEG or DNG, you can have both. You have a histogram which is movable around the screen, so you can put it just in the right place and get exactly just the right exposed photographs from your Seago 3 camera. Meter setting, you now have a choice of either spot metering, centre metering or average metering of the scene. Interesting for me though, what does it take? Well, you now get single photography, single pictures, a burst mode, you have time-lapse, and you have panoramic. Now the panoramas can either be single, which is 8 images for your 360 degrees, or you can double it to get more depth and it will do 16 images for that scene. To be honest, I've flown it. I found connection times to be a lot quicker with the new firmware, so that it's less than a minute to connect from the ST16 to the Typhoon H. And if I'm honest, I found the picture quality to be slightly better. I don't know what Yuneec have done to the camera or the firmware on the ST16, but something has happened. And that's it. New firmware, new chance to go out and fly while we still can before the real bad weather sets in. That's how you update the firmware for your ST16 and your Typhoon H. Head over to Yuneec.uk and that's it. Leave me with my chamomile spiced apple warming tea and my book to read later, which I won't do. Thank you. This has been the Kitchen Table. Don't forget to look out for the code below. 20% off for your tickets for the UK drone show, 3rd and 4th of December. And that's it. We'll see you again soon on the Kitchen Table.